Let's end this. Holy crap!
Hey there, welcome to Factorio Space Age. It's finally out and it's time to play it. I'm very excited and this is going to be my first time playing it. Yeah, I know I have a save named Space, but that was for space exploration. I swear I didn't get it early. Anyways, let's jump right in. Okay, like every Factorio run, it's just time for the classic burner setup. First on the iron patch, and the next on the copper patch. Oh, by the way, my audio is glitched for like the first 15 minutes of recording, so yeah, but don't worry, it gets fixed later on. Anyways, while expanding the iron patch, I research electronics. Something new to Space Age is the fact that you can research certain techs by just mining or making items, which is pretty unique. I think I'll upgrade the coal snake now. I guess some more iron also sounds nice. Hey, I wonder how many new achievements there are. And, oh god. Okay, anyways, let's start handcrafting some things for steam power. Oh yeah, and I'll place some miners on the stone patch. Then it's just back to expanding the iron patch. With all this iron, I can focus on getting water for the steam power. You can also see the new GUI for fluids, which I really like. Anyways, I'll hand feed the boilers with a burner incinerator and place a lab to start researching. Now I'm going to need some more copper, so I'll expand it a little bit. I'll also expand the coal snake some more. Here you can see me fiddling around with all the new keybinds. I like them a lot. I'm also going to set up a little bit of brick smelting just so I have something to walk on. I'm going to start handcrafting a bunch of belts. With all these belts I can start laying out the furnace stacks with ghost mode. After researching logistics, I realized the audio is messed up, and I quickly fix it. Well, time to wait some more. But hey, I don't have to wait long since automation just got researched, and I can start setting up rough automation for red science and intermediate products. After doing all that, I can place some belts on the furnace stacks. This means I can place some electric miners on the iron patch and on the coal patch as well. After getting some of the first iron stack done, I go and set up copper as well. Even though it kind of looks like spaghetti and it hurts my soul slightly, it works, and copper is hooked up to the stack. And now it's time to build it out. Okay, after finishing some of the stack out for copper, it's time to lay out the bus in ghost mode. But that's a lot of trees, so I'm just gonna get rid of them real quick. That took some time to deforest, but now I can go ahead and lay out the bus in ghost mode. By the way, I didn't really plan what lane gets what, so it might look a little funky later on. I'm also going to leave a little space in the middle for roboports. After laying that out, I noticed power's a little low, so it wouldn't hurt to expand that some more. I'm a little bit worried about those biters, but with all these trees it shouldn't be much of a problem right now. Okay, back to bus stuff. First I'll hook up iron to its respective lane, then I'll do the same for copper. With both of the most common items on the bus, it's time to set up my favorite thing, a mall. I'm not going to go that far into depth of it, but you can just watch me build it. The mall is almost done, but iron production cannot keep up, so I'm going to quickly place some more miners on the iron patch. I'm also going to expand the furnace stack for the iron. Well, it's time to expand the bus some more, but there is a nest a little bit too close, but I'll have to kill it later on. With the bus expanded, it's time to automate red signs. I think the ratios are roughly correct, but since I'm not going to go for any mega base type stuff, it's fine for now. Here you can see me messing with the new map GUI. Anyways, it's back to building out some of the red signs. It doesn't take long and I can place some labs and turn on the power. With that, red science is automated. But now the pollution's starting to get a little bit too close to that nest I was talking about, so I'm just gonna go kill it real quick. God, I love the new graphics for when I'm killing things. It's so satisfying. Anyways, enough of me being a psychopath, it's time to be an engineer. And next up is circuit production. Since this isn't a speedrun, I'm gonna actually care for ratios this time. Oh yeah, I think they might have made the time to research things a little bit longer, or at least it feels longer, so I'm just gonna place a few more labs. Okay, now with all the belts hooked up to its proper area, I can place power poles and turn it on. Now if green circuit's done, I can think about doing green signs, and the first step towards that is placing another furnace stack. I'm also going to place a few more miners on the coal patch since power is taking a lot of the coal currently. After doing that and building some more of the stack out, I'll place some iron miners and run it to the new stack. Then after building that out, I can run it to the bus and focus on green signs. First is built in inserter production. Then the actual automation of green signs. Okay, green signs is automated. Time to hook it up to the labs and start researching towards blue signs. Before I do anything else, I'm noticing that some nests are soaking up pollution, so I'm gonna go fix that real quick. Okay, that's done with. Now I can focus on automating more things, like brick smelting. This will be needed for military and purple science, and I can see both being really important later on. This spaghetti is gonna make Olive Garden look like not an Italian restaurant. That line was terrible. Okay, time to power all the miners, and wire all the belts to the bus. Well, right now I'm out of room for future furnace stacks, and that's because of the steam power being in the way, so I'm just going to move it a few tiles down and make that a future problem for me. Anyways, now with some more space for furnace stacks, I'm going to set up a steel stack. After placing a few furnaces and getting an idea for what I want, I quickly realized that future me is present me, and I'm gonna have to move the boilers down again. After dealing with all that mess, I can go back to working on steel production. The only problem is that this will quickly drain my starter iron patch, so I'll have to go get another one soon. It doesn't take long to finish it, and now I can hook up everything to power and plug in some iron ore, and bam, steel is done. Now I can hook it up to the bus. With steel automated, I can hook it up to the mole and use it for assembler Mark IIs, rails, and etc. Ah, power is behind again. I'll fix that real quick. Back to bus expanding. I'm also going to lay out some more circuit production in ghost mode, but it's going to be a little while till I build it out. Since I'm just waiting for research to be done, I can start automating blue science. The only product that it needs that doesn't take oil is engines, and all that really comes down to steel and iron, so it's not going to be that hard to make. It took barely any time to finish, but then I realized I did my math wrong and I could actually double it, so I'm just going to do that real quick. Back to just waiting around. I'll start placing some labs and doing some stuff at the mall, but it's just going to be some stuff. Okay, after maybe like 15 minutes of just doing random stuff, it's time to be productive, like placing some more copper miners for the copper stack, and placing some more steam boilers. I'm gonna start placing the first few rails for where I want my rail yard to go. But after placing like maybe 14 rails, I get sidetracked and I decide to go kill some nests with my new technology. The car. Okay, that was pretty fun, but I guess it's back to working on the base some more. After fiddling with the base some more, I think it's time to get the train yard up and running. I'm gonna use 1 locomotive and 4 wagons for the starter base. But right as I started, I stopped because there are way too many trees in the way and I don't feel like dealing with all of them. So I'm just gonna go set up military science for reasons you shall soon see. But that does mean I have to run a belt of coal throughout the base, which has made this base look somehow even more unappealing. Okay, now to do military science versus red ammo. Okay, next is grenade production. And finally, 1 assembler for the walls. Not gonna hook up all the raw resources to where it needs to go. At the end of one side of the grenade production, I'm going to place an inserter with a chest because I'm going to be using those grenades to kill those trees. Okay, time to finish up military science production. It doesn't take long to do, and I can hook up to the labs, then turn it on and make my first science pack. I guess now is a good time to start building out the rail yard, and with these new grenades, it's very satisfying. The rail yard will have space for 2 trains on a station at a time. Oh, another nest is soaking up pollution, so I'm gonna deal with that real quick. Okay, back to the rails. After laying out most of the rail yard, I can start building toward resources. The first one I'll get is that coal patch right above the base. The only problem with that is that there are a couple of nests along the way, but they're both small, so it should be fine. Okay, at the patch I could start building out the mining outpost. Since I'm lazy, I'm not going to heavily defend it, and it will probably be a problem in the future, but it's fine. It doesn't take a long time to build everything out and to power it. God, I love seeing mining outposts turn on for the first time. Yeah, but my power grid didn't really like that, and I'm gonna have to go fix it. So I'm just gonna effectively double my power production. Oh yeah, fish can spoil now, and I didn't notice it until it happened, so yeah, here's a pile of spoiled fish. Okay, power should be fine for a little while. Now I can go focus on the rail yard some more. Right now I have to focus on the unloading station. After building one of the unloading stations, I can copy it and place it next to it, and I'll use those for different resources. Now I just have to plug the coal into the power production and the furnaces. It took barely any time, and now I can focus on getting another unloading station built and hooked up. It'll be for iron since my iron patch cannot keep up with the current demand. After laying out most of the unloading station for the iron, it's time to go get iron, and there's a patch just right of the coal patch, which luckily means I don't have to place that many rails. Here's some more satisfying footage of an outpost being turned on. Okay, back to the base. I'm gonna grab a few grenades and I'm gonna go kill some nests that are a little too close for comfort. Now if iron hooked up and done with, I can start getting blue signs done with, but that means I need red circuits and sulfur, which both take oil, so that means I need oil, and there's a patch just below the base that I'm gonna go and try and get. This oil patch isn't really rich, but it should be fine for now. After placing all the pumps, I can head back to the base and start placing where the unloading station will go. I will be setting up oil processing right underneath the rail yard. But before I start that, I noticed that iron outpost cannot keep up with the demand, and luckily there's another one just underneath that same coal patch, so I'm gonna go try and get it. It took a little bit of time, but in the end it was worth it, because look at it go. Next I'll set up the unloading station for the oil and run a pipe down towards where I want the oil processing to go. You can see me right here messing with the new pin system, and I think it's pretty neat. Before I start messing with oil, I noticed that my steel can't really keep up, so I'm going to do some light remodeling and build another 2 steel stacks. Anyways, now I can actually focus on oil processing. The first things I'm going to build are the refineries. I plan these to be able to do advanced oil processing in the future, but it's going to be a little while till I get that. After placing the refineries, I head down to the nearby lake and start placing an offshore pump, then bring the water all the way back up to the refineries. With the refineries built and water at the refineries, I can start working on the first oil product, which is sulfur, which all it takes is petrol and water, so it's really cheap and easy to make. Then next up is plastic, which all it takes is petrol and coal, and I'll just grab a belt of coal from the rail yard and bring it down to the production area. After finishing both products, I can start bringing the belts of plastic and sulfur to the bus. Or, well, I could if biters didn't decide to show up. You know, since they want to attack me, I think it's only fair that I attack them back. Okay, they're dead. Back at the base, I can add the sulfur and plastic to the bus now. And now with plastic, I can start making red circuit production for blue science. All that red circuits take is plastic, copper wires, and green circuits, so needless to say it's not that hard to produce. A little while later, red circuits are done, and that means I have everything needed for blue science. I run sulfur and red circuits up to the engine production that I made earlier. Now with all the raw resources together, I can start placing some assemblers and start making blue science. Okay, it took barely any time and blue science production is done. I'm gonna run it to the same belt as military science. Well, now since I'm just waiting for research to be done, I'll mess with the base some, such as placing turrets and pipes. Another thing that I'll probably have to do in the future is get more resources, so might as well start building towards some right now. So I have researched advanced oil processing, which means I can set up lube production, but that also means I need to set up oil cracking. After setting up heavy oil cracking, I can just copy and place it for light oil cracking. Now with both of those done, I can just run a pipe of lube to the main bus. Well, next up on my list of things to do before space is get robot frames, which means I need to do battery production. First thing that I need to build for batteries is sulfuric acid. After that I can pipe it to the bus and to some chemical plants for battery production. As I was removing some assemblers that were going to be used for making engines, I got attacked by biters, which means I have to go deal with that. After dealing with that nest, I can go back to setting up engine production. It takes barely time and now I can set up the electric engine production, which is going to use the lube I made earlier. All the other ingredients are pretty simple, it's just the engines and the green circuits. Doesn't take long to lay it out and I can start getting the belt set up. After placing the assemblers in a chest at the end, I can turn on power, and with that I have robo frames being made. But it doesn't matter if I don't have any iron coming in, and that's because of those gosh darn biters, so... After repairing and killing a few nests, I can start handcrafting my first construction robots. I'll also bring a belt of red circuits to the mall just for roboports and stack inserters. After waiting for a little bit, I can start placing some roboports throughout the base, along with changing some of the chests at the mall to passive provider chests. After maybe like 20-ish minutes of just doing random stuff with robots, I think it's time to move the steam power. With the bots, it shouldn't take any time at all, so we'll be doubling it as well. Well, now with that mostly done with, I can go back to placing roboports throughout the base. Now I'm gonna guess that rockets take a lot of materials to make, and since my base can barely keep up with blue science production, I think it's a good time to heavily expand the furnace smelting. I'm gonna let bots slowly build that out, and while they do that, I'm gonna go kill some nests and take this copper patch that is right next to the base. After building all that out, I can hook it up to the furnaces that are still being built. Since the furnace stacks are still being built slow due to the bots being slow, I might as well start setting up blue circuit production. They'll be used for making yellow science and rockets later on. I'm gonna plan it all out in ghost mode, and then I'm gonna go back to messing with the train yard some more. After doing all that, guess what? The bots are still building it, so I guess it's time to set up rocket fuel production. I go for a couple of designs and positions of where I want to place it, but then I finally settle on one. After building it, you can start running the belt of rocket fuel to the bus. Then I placed some power poles for it, and now I can go focus on some other things, like setting up a stone outpost. Or, well, at least I could if I didn't run off to go do 20 other things. Okay, back to the stone outpost. There are a couple of nests a bit close, so before I build it out, I'm going to take care of them. After taking care of that one nest, I decided I can wait to kill those other ones, and I'm just gonna start building the outpost. There's nothing much new to show you here. Back at the rail yard, I create a station for stone and run it to where the stone should go. I also decided to build out some more of the green circuit production, and to upgrade the blue circuit production. I also added another smelting stack for copper. Since I'm getting close to rockets and I have 2 of the 3 things needed for it, I think it's time to get the last one, which is low density structures. It's going to be using yellow sign, so the setup is going to have to be pretty big. With LDSs built and blue circuits done, I can split half of the production from both on one line to go to where yellow sign's production will lay. Now that means all I have to do is place some assemblers and turn it on. Boom, yellow science is done and now I can go focus on other things, like more red circuit production. Since I'm just kind of waiting around, I'm going to decide to be productive, which means building an area dedicated to red belt. I don't even think this whole thing, even dedicated to it, is going to make them fast enough, but it should be fine for a little while. Hey, remember those nests I said I was gonna ignore? Well, it's a problem now, so I'm gonna have to go kill them. I managed to kill 2 of the nests, but this third one is really resilient, so I'm just gonna have to come back to it some other time. In the meantime, I'll hook up the red circuits to the bus, and I'll go back to messing with the red belt production. I'm going to use an upgrade planner to upgrade all the belts in my furnace stacks and bus, and this is going to take a little while, but at least it's happening. I'll also upgrade all the furnaces to steel furnaces, along with adding steel furnaces to my wall. 30-ish minutes later, I decided to build out another green circuit production. Might as well add some more things to my armor, and might as well add some more robots to the network. Well, now there's only one last thing needed for this episode, which is the rocket silo. I'll be hand feeding these assemblers to make concrete for now until I have logistics robots later on. Okay, while that's making concrete, I guess I'll go try and kill that nest again. Yeah, okay, that still didn't work, so I'm gonna pull out my wild card, the turret spam. Oh wow, that worked perfectly. Well, that took enough time for my assemblers to make the needed concrete, which means I can start going around my base and grabbing the necessary ingredients to make the rocket silo, and start handcrafting it. I'm gonna bring all the resources for the rocket parts to where the rocket silo will go. And then I can place it. But before I can start automating rockets, I need to handcraft some productivity modules, and to automate space platforms as well. All that space platforms take is steel and copper wire, so it's not that annoying to set up. But somehow I did my math really wrong, and I realized after I built it that I could actually place more assemblers. So, lesson learned, I guess. I'll go ahead and start feeding the rocket silo now. A little while later, I made enough platforms to make the space platform starter pack. That's a tongue twister. Anyways, I'll start handcrafting it while the rocket's being built. But luckily, I didn't have to wait for long. I can put the space starter pack into it and let it launch. Few seconds later, I get some achievements, and now I can see space. Next is figuring it out. But that'll have to be for next episode. Yeah, I'm ending the video here, and I know that the starter base on Nauvis isn't really fully done, but in next video, it should be fully done, and we should be in space as well. Some things like purple science and building a wall around Nauvis might not be fully into the video. It'll be there, it'll just be very short and brief, because I want to show a new planet. And speaking of a new planet, you guys vote. It's between Volgora and Vulcanus. Vote down in the comments. I'll go to the most voted one. I'm personally voting for Volgora, but you guys choose. Oh yeah, I also wanted to say thank y'all so much. I don't know why the YouTube algorithm decided to be nice to me last video, but thank you guys so much for the support and feedback. I like hearing it. I like hearing negative. I like hearing positive. Just give me constructive feedback, and I'm gonna try and do better. I hope this video was better than the last. It was a little bit rushed for Space Age, and with just a lot of personal stuff, it's kinda hard to do these videos, but next one should have better quality. I hope to have better quality. Well, bye.